Hello, and thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Today's episode is going to be titled, Sometimes You Just Can't Win. It can be truly disheartening to realize that despite your best efforts, you may sometimes be perceived as the bad guy, or find yourself in situations where you simply can't win. This isn't about failure. It's about encountering people or circumstances where the outcome feels predetermined, regardless of your approach. One of the hardest lessons to accept is that your intentions and actions can be misconstrued, or that what works for one person might completely backfire with another. Consider online interactions, for instance. You may genuinely enjoy connecting with certain people, cultivating friendships, and sharing common interests. Yet, despite how much effort you put in, if the other person isn't interested in forming a connection, you might still end up being cast in an unfavorable light. Let's say you approach someone with kindness and genuine care. You're thoughtful, considerate, and invested in building a positive rapport. Ironically, this can sometimes be perceived as too much, leading them to disengage. They might feel smothered, or perhaps your enthusiasm makes them uncomfortable, causing them to withdraw and ultimately decide they don't want to be your friend. It's a perplexing reality. Your authentic desire to connect can be the very thing that pushes someone away. This sparks an internal monologue. Perhaps, if I hadn't cared so much, if I had acted more aloof, they would have been more intrigued and chosen to stay. Such second-guessing is a natural response to rejection, making you wonder if an opposite approach would have led to a more favorable outcome. However, this thinking quickly leads to another dilemma. You recall times when people stopped talking to you for the exact opposite reason. They saw you as distant, disengaged, or uncaring. The frustrating paradox becomes clear. People have left your life because you cared too much and because you cared too little. No matter how you adjust your approach, some individuals will never be satisfied. While initially painful, this realization is also liberating. It frees you from the endless cycle of self-blame and the could-have, should-have mindset. You no longer have to agonize over whether being more assertive or playing things cooler would have changed the outcome. I experienced this firsthand with someone I met online in 2020. She was a genuinely kind woman, and we connected instantly. Our conversations flowed effortlessly, and we frequently chatted on Instagram and over the phone. We built a good rapport. Until, in the spring of 2021, she suddenly stopped communicating. Years passed until 2024, when we reconnected. We caught up on lost time, sharing updates on our lives. The conversation was fantastic, lasting several hours. We even made plans to call again. But just like before, that call never happened, and she stopped responding to my messages. Her second withdrawal reignited that familiar internal debate. Maybe if I had been more of a jerk or more insensitive, she would have stayed. Perhaps if I had acted like I didn't care, she would have been more interested. My consistent availability and genuine desire to talk may have been perceived as too much, making me seem overly accessible. It's counterintuitive, but some individuals seem drawn to a certain level of detachment. While being rude is certainly not a recommended strategy for healthy relationships, there is an undeniable pattern where some people are strangely attracted to those who appear less invested. I've seen people attempt to switch tactics, becoming more aloof or even disrespectful, only to realize that even then, it doesn't work. I vividly recall confronting her after she stopped talking to me the second time, trying to understand why she pulled away. To my surprise, she said I was being aggressive. This was a stark contrast to my usual kind and thoughtful demeanor. Even when I shifted my approach and tried something different, it still wasn't good enough for her. I still couldn't win. This is the core realization. Sometimes, no matter how you act or what you do with certain people, you just can't win. And for the sake of your own mental well-being, it's healthier to move on. Dwelling on it, dissecting every interaction, and agonizing over what you could change to make someone like you more can be mentally exhausting and even destructive. She often spoke about the men she socialized with, the ones she went drinking with at bars, These were just regular guys with ordinary jobs, lives, and families. They went home to their loved ones, had dinner, and slept in their own beds, just like anyone else. There was nothing inherently extraordinary about them, just as there was nothing inherently wrong with me. This observation led to a crucial understanding. There's nothing I can fundamentally change about myself to make someone want me. Sometimes it simply doesn't work out, and that doesn't reflect your worth. It's much like attraction. While you may find certain women appealing, another guy, equally deserving, might not capture their interest. That person is probably left wondering, why them? What did I do wrong? It's just the unpredictable nature of human connection. While it's easy to fall into the trap of analyzing yourself and wondering what makes you different, it's ultimately an unproductive exercise. The cycle repeats. You'll encounter another person with whom you feel like you can't win. And this dilemma isn't limited to relationships. It extends to opportunities as well. For example, you might pursue a job where, despite your qualifications and efforts, you feel like you just can't win over the hiring manager. The sense of being unable to succeed, despite your best efforts, isn't exclusive to personal interactions. I recall an experience with a former roommate who would get upset if dishes were missing from the dishwasher, perhaps still in someone's room. No matter what, there was always a problem, always something to be upset about. Even when I tried to do the right thing, bringing my dishes out to be cleaned, it still wasn't enough. There was always a comment, always an issue. Ultimately, the most profound realization is that you won't always win with everyone in life or every situation, and that's perfectly okay. Life is filled with unpredictable dynamics, but once you accept this, rejection stings less, and moving forward becomes easier. Instead of allowing these experiences to bring you down, focus on moving forward with composure and confidence. Most importantly, always strive to be yourself. There will be people and opportunities that align with who you are. The key is to shift your focus toward those possibilities and patiently await their arrival. It might not feel that way when you're navigating difficult times, but those meaningful connections and opportunities will eventually come. Patience and persistence matter. While it might feel like an uphill battle now, the right people and situations will ultimately align with the person you are. Anyways, thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Signing out. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye for now.